Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the break, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Well, welcome aboard everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It's a great way to finish your week here on Friday the 30th of May with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright. And tomorrow we've got a massive game, the UEFA Champions League final. We're going to be live on a Betcast ourselves. And on this show, we're going to be previewing it in full. Stay tuned for some picks from the French Open from Nigel, who has given them to me today, and also a sprinkling of lower league action in Europe today. Jack, how are you? Are you excited about tomorrow?
Good day, Steve, and good day, everyone who's tuned in. Look to watch us live. Do you know what I am? I'm really excited for tomorrow. I think this is a really exciting game. I think it's got lots of potential. And what I do like about it a lot, and we are a absolute micro snapshot of this, is I think there's a lot of disagreement. I think there's people that are siding with PSG, people are siding with Inter, people going unders, people going overs, and I think that makes for a good game. When you've got a host of people that have got different opinions on the game, that can only be good for it. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, obviously the first Champions League Betcast as well for me, and obviously done a couple of the Premier League ones now, but so excited for that. It should be a great watch. If it lives up to expectations, we're going to be absolutely pumped watching that tomorrow, alongside one of the best commentators in the business.
Yes. We are really looking forward to that. Do join us at, I think it's 2:30 Eastern time tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live for the live Betcast. Myself, Dan Roebuck, and you, of course, Jack, as well, will be involved there.
Yes.
That's 7:30 UK time. So we'll have even more bets tomorrow when we know the lineup, stuff like that. And half an hour before the game, so loads of time to break it down. Welcome into everyone. Guy S, he's been looking at under 2.5 goals. We will be definitely talking about the goal market, Guy, don't worry. Ming Chun, good to see you. He thinks PSG are the better team and the class will tell. Dembele could be the key, though. Hope he doesn't fold. I know where you're coming from, actually. I think Dembele could be the key man here, the favourite to win the Ballon d'Or with Bet Rivers as things stand. Rick Hailey, good to see you. Duncan Evans, Kingsley, King Savvy Saver as well. Talking Punch, Simon Holden's in the house. Good to see you, Simon.
It's Champions League weekend. The big dogs are rolling out.
Who you got to win the Champions League, Simon? I think I remember your newsletter pick on the Insider, which I think the Insider might be in everyone's inbox now, Jack. If not, then every single handicapper has put a pick on this game on the Insider. It might not be out yet, Oh, no, it is out.
It's not out. Is it?
It is out,
I haven't got it yet. VIP's only first.
Oh, no, hold on. No. I'm just searching for it in my inbox, and it was last week's.
All right.
So
okay.
It's not out, but we've
Last
got
week is out. Yeah. And that is a big point, because of what I said at the top there is that it's so interesting seeing all these handicappers putting their bets forward, and you've got the opportunity to side with half and fade half, because we're split, aren't we? There's a lot of difference of opinion. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, there's the link for the Insider. Do subscribe to it if you're not already, and you'll be getting loads of different picks. Follow your favourite handicapper, fade the one that you trust the least in this particular final. It's going to be a theme, actually, for the Insider. I think of the next few weeks, we're going to be targeting certain specific big events. For example, I think the US Open Golf is going to be one. Not quite sure who's going to be allowed to pick on that.
Can't wait.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Greg Norman is a shoe-in for me on that. Greg Norman all the way.
Anyway, okay. So, I mean, how's your betting week been overall, everyone? Put it in the chat there. Just some notable winners and losers from yesterday. Knicks versus Pacers over 22.5 points. That was a loser, $22,000. But some significant winners as well in the tennis, for example. Paula Badosa live on the money line plus 100. That's a $15,000 winner. The biggest soccer bet was $12,500. Godoy Cruz live over 0.5 goals versus Atletico Grau. And that was a winner. Copa Libertadores. Shout out to Rory Barlow. 2 winners out of 2 in the Libertadores this week. He gave them out on, I think it was Tuesday. So, and he had a good, I think it was 2 out of 3 on his main picks for the Conference League as well. So Rory Barlow, he's had a great season actually on Betting Weekly Live. Most of us have, in fairness, Jack. We've had a number of winners here. No house specials yet for Friday. Notable live streams today that you can watch. Galatasaray versus Basaksehir in the Turkish Super League. Aral versus Grasshoppers in the Swiss Super League. I think Grasshoppers are 4-0 up in that. That looks done in the playoff game. La Liga 2-game, Real Zaragoza in action. You can watch 5 Irish Premier League games. You've got the PDC European Open darts, men and women's French Open tennis, and in the Superettan, a match we're going to talk about later, Orebro versus Brage. Okay, so like I said, we're going to preview this Champions League final now, and then I'm going to have some French Open picks from Nigel to come. But this Champions League final, let me just go through some more comments before here. And yes, the outright ticket, Nigel did advise that future. I think Lewis Jones did as well. I've got a ticket on Inter myself. It's it's one of them. Has he still got it? I don't really, and we'll talk about this maybe more tomorrow as well in terms of the hedging situation. I'm happy because I was on the each way just to get into the final. So I just consider this now any sort of a bonus. If I was on at like 50-1, I'd be looking at the hedge. But the ticket for me, I think it's 18-1, something like that, 16s. And yeah, James, shout out to James Eastham. Again, his best bet on the Conference League final, both teams to score, yes. It was in that newsletter on Monday at -110, kicked off at -160. James Eastham ahead of the trend as per usual. Simon's got an interesting point. French media questioning the PSG bottle. He thinks it's going to penalties, a long night for well, we get the overtime rate, Simon.
Exactly, mate.
But I mean, that's going to be, to be fair, that's not just a question. I think the French media have a right to be asking. A lot of people are suggesting that is the PSG weakness, the bottling element of it. They're desperate to do it. They didn't manage to achieve that against Bayern Munich in that COVID final. This is a different one. The fans are in play now. And this is the situation. PSG, these are 90-minute odds. PSG to win the Champions League in 90 minutes, plus 120. The tie is plus 235, Inter plus 235. To win the trophy, PSG minus 167, Inter plus 130. Both teams scoring yes at minus 134. No is minus 104. Over 2.5 goals, minus 103. And the under is minus 121. And there's the best of the player market so far. So I guess the first port of call, really, I've got to quiz you about, Jack, is in terms of money line and to win the trophy. Those 2 elements of it. Where is the value, if there is any? And, in terms of personal predictions, for winning the trophy, where are you on that as well? On the money line, is there an edge for us bettors?
I put my prices out prior to these coming out. Of course, that's generally how we work, isn't it? And do you know what? They were exactly the same. So to say there's value in it, and it's no surprise, I don't think, to find value in a Champions League final, I think would be genuine, like proper value. I think would be really, really tough to do that in the moneyline market, in those mainline markets. I think is next to impossible. We see it in the Premier League, we see it in the main leagues. To try and find that, it's rare. So where there's just that one game to focus on, the traders go to work, they run all their algorithms, etc., etc. I think they've got it right. So therefore, it comes down to what do I think, and I think PSG. That's where I am holding a ticket for them. I've seen Lewis Jones, according to Troy, has got a ticket at 16-1. Mine's not quite that big, but it's up there. It's nice enough. I'm not hedging it either. It is to win outright. And I'm gonna roll with it, and I think that they will get the job done. Would I back them to lift the trophy at minus? I think it's minus 160 odd. No, I probably wouldn't. Not just for the fact that I'm already holding that ticket, but you know how I tend to bet. I don't tend to bet on those kind of odds. and I'd rather take the PSG at plus 123 in 90 minutes. Again, once it gets to extra time and penalties, you're then in a little bit of a lottery situation. So, I wouldn't want to kind of be relying on that. I'd rather take the L, I think, at 90 minutes holding a plus money play rather than prolong it further at minus, say, about 160, I think.
Do you know, it's interesting. The odds are actually very similar to the Europa League final where we have Man United and Spurs, certainly on the day of the game. And in that case, I think on the betcast we had, we all agreed, me, James and Nigel, that Spurs were the bet on the plus a quarter because we all rated it as a genuine coin toss, 50-50. So the value was clearly for us on Spurs there. In this instance, I actually ranked PSG as the better side. And, not by just a little bit. I think they're about one class better than Inter for me. It's not a huge margin, but I just think they're the better team. In which case, plus 120 on a neutral ground inside 90 minutes looks about right, I would say. So I think these odds are fair. If anything, look, if I had to have a free $50 bet on the money line, I would go PSG on the 90 minutes. But I wouldn't be rushing to back it myself now. I know there's loads of people out there who've been watching our live shows throughout the whole season who have got outright tickets on Inter and PSG for whatever different reasons. There might be someone who's got a ticket on both. That's the ultimate ticket, isn't it?
I know someone, I had one of our followers message me going, I'm going to sit back, open up a cold one and watch it unfold. And he's in profit regardless, really. Possibly could hedge it during in play if how things transpire. But he's he's in the perfect situation, as you say, where he can kick back, relax, and know he's going to be cashing a ticket at the end of 90, 120 or beyond.
Exactly that. And I hope that maybe some of the advice that we've been giving out on this show might have people on those outright future tickets.
Looks that way.
Like you say, Inter have been advised on this show. PSG, shout out to Lewis Jones, who got on them after the first leg against Liverpool. And for those who got on around that time, it was absolutely worth the investment. That's for sure. The 631 bets you can get on with Bet Rivers for the game. That's the key point I've got to make here. There's tons of player props. There's tons of match props. So you don't have to get involved in the money line and the over-under and the key markets. Although I know for some people out there, that's the only ones they can really attack. So we've got to cover everything. Let's move into the goals market now. And both teams to score as well. Yes, he's minus 134. No, plus 102. Over 2.5 goals, minus 104 now. Under 2.5 at minus 121. This is where I think we are going to be differing, Jack. Well, I know we're going to be differing. For those who did watch the newsletter video on Monday, I have advised under 2.5 goals, minus 114. It has shortened a bit. I know that you are the opposite angle here, Jack, on the over, which is an interesting one, especially within the Champions League final. So let's make your case here for goals in this game, inside 90 minutes as well.
Yeah, I just feel that this game has got the potential where two sides that are perfectly matched to go and use their strengths, and they will go into this kind of fearless. I don't think there's going to be nerves. Simon's touched on it, that the French media talk about PSG's bottle. I think they've talked about that a few times this season. And they've always had an answer. They actually look, in my opinion, a different PSG side. Your knowledge on Liga, and you're a staunch follower of Liga, and I don't see too much of it. But having seen PSG in the Champions League, they are a different side to what we've seen over the last few years. They're hardworking. They like to press high. They've got great technicians in the middle of the park. They like to keep the ball. And them quotes that we saw coming out after the semi-final saying the best way for us to defend is for us to have the ball, but as far away from our goal as possible. And they've got players that are in the peak of their form. You talked about Dembele there as being a Ballon d'Or favourite. Well, you said that 12 to 18 months ago, you'd have been laughed out of the place, wouldn't you? He's just absolutely transformed since, I guess, Mbappe's departure. But they've got some brilliant players in there, and a few go under the radar. But like, you look across all those positions and there's excitement. And I think the same can be said for Inter Milan. And I think that when you look at some of the stats across there, it points towards there being chances for both sides. And I think they've got the players on the pitch that are going to be able to take them. So I think at the start of the tournament, and even though they are still have the best defence on record, Inter Milan, that's changed a little bit as the tournament's gone on. And I do wonder that they are a fairly old side in modern day football terms. I think Atletico Madrid are the only side in the Champions League that's played kind of over 30s more than Inter Milan. They've got a few players, obviously, that were kind of maybe scarred from that final defeat in 2023. And they do concede a lot of shots. But so when you say you break some of the stats down as far as that's concerned, you look at Jan Sommer in goal. He's prevented the most amount of goals in the Champions League of any goalkeeper. They've faced the most amount of shots of any team in the whole Champions League this season, which is quite incredible, really, for a side that's gone all the way to the final. Quite often, especially with the Italian sides of the past, you'd generally be expecting them to get that far based on a tight, resolute defence where they don't concede too many chances. But so the clean sheets this season, 8 clean sheets, more than any other side. They have only conceded 11 goals. And one of those was an own goal as well. But 6 of those came in that game against Barcelona. And I think there are enough parallels for me from Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona to think we could possibly see a similar outcome. I'm not going to say 3-3. That would be absolutely mind-blowing to be doing a betcast tomorrow and we get a 3-3. I'd settle for a losing ticket if that ended that way, because that would be an incredible watch for everyone concerned. So I just think there's enough there. And you look at those players on the Paris Saint-Germain side that can go and hurt them. And also just look at Inter Milan as well. They've got some serious firepower themselves across the pitch. So, and some people were looking at personal goals.
So I'm interested here, Jack, what goal line you would price this up as. I mean, over 2.5 goals is minus 104 with Bet Rivers. What would you personally have over 2.5 goals at? And would you be pricing this game up on effectively a 2.75 goal line or even a 3?
No, you're spot on. I think it's not miles out, but I think 2.75 would be probably where I'd pitch it, or I'd have over 2.5 goals, maybe minus 125, something like that. I think there's a bit in it I talked about earlier that they generally get it quite right in this kind of match. I do feel that there's a little bit of juice to be had in that overline. You look at the both teams to score line. I think generally everyone's concerned here, and the traders certainly minus 134 for both teams to score. So obviously that's at the least going to be 1-1. That's a real strong play. General consensus is that both teams will get on the score sheet. So obviously for over 2.5 to cash, we only need one more goal. The longer it goes, if it's 0-0, the longer it goes 0-0, then the more nerves will come in. No one wants to make a mistake, all those kind of things. But I just feel that there's going to be players that will be wanting to get on the front foot and want to prove a point. And when you've got, I think for me, when you've got players here, you've got all the wing backs love to get forward. That in itself would suggest to me that we'll have an open game. You look at, say, Dumfries, DeMarco. You look at Hakimi. I've forgotten the guy's name on the left hand side now. Mendes. I just think that all those players love to be getting in the final third. Yes, they can defend, but they love to get in the final third. So I think there'll be some space in this side in this match where both sides can appeal. So yeah, I reckon about, for me, 2.5 goals for me. Over 2.5 goals would be about minus 125. My thoughts, and you go the other way. So
well, yes, yeah. I mean,
sell it to me.
For me, under 2.5 goals should be around about minus 140. Now,
wow.
Before I make my case for unders here, just some interesting XG and XGA stats, because I think this might be a reason why there are those out there who like in the over like yourself, and why the line might be priced as it is. Inter expected goals per 90 minutes in the Champions League this season, 1.42. PSG, 2.2 per 90 minutes. So that equates to 2.99 overall. Expected goals, 3.82 overall. And the expected goals against per 90 minutes in the Champions League, PSG 1.25, which is actually one of the top rates in all the teams. Inter 1.74 expected goals against per 90 minutes. That's really high. As you mentioned there, they faced a lot of shots. The keepers had a good season for them. 2.99 overall. So that might be a reason. And looking at those stats, that's why I favour PSG as well, by the way. On raw metrics and numbers, they are better.
I'll put a caveat in.
Yeah,
sorry, mate. I'll put a caveat in as far as that. Obviously, on those bare numbers, you go, "Wow, they concede so many chances." Sommer's like overworked, which he undoubtedly is. But when you drill down into the detail, the average expected goals per shot they've conceded is only 0.08. So they don't tend to concede many massive chances, but you don't need to concede massive chances with the likes of what PSG have got going forward. That's my kind of thinking on that. And so the flip side of it, which I didn't really mention, but Inter's shot and goal scoring tallies are decent. They've kind of matched their record across the campaign so far as well. They've scored 2 or more goals in all the knockout games. So they've kind of come into this with a fully working offense. And I think, as I said, they will be happy for PSG to come on at them so they can go and look to burst on the counter-attack. We saw they were lethal against Barcelona. So I'm just hoping anything similar to that would be brilliant to watch.
This is going to be the first ever competitive meeting between the two sides, which that in itself is a remarkable stat.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of times you would have thought they would have faced each other down the years in Europe. 75% of the money on the money line is on PSG with 71% of the tickets. In the over-under market, 64% of the money is on the over, 58% of the tickets on the over. It's quite split, that is. And I mean, for me, I've got to go unders here. And I think the first thing I've got to mention is it's a final. It's a Champions League final. And I think for finals, you've got to almost price things up a little bit uniquely. You've got to factor in the pressure of the situation. There's an old saying, if in doubt on the over-under in a final, go the under as well. But Champions League finals since certainly post-COVID have been really tight. I mean, producer Troy put a stat up there. Last 6 Champions League finals have gone under 2.5 goals and both teams to score no. You have to go all the way back to Liverpool, Real Madrid for an over 2.5 final inside 90 minutes. And I think one of those goals, Carriers just gave it away, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was 0-0 half time. I mean, the 2 bets I like in the under market, it's a straight under 2.5 goals. Now, I've got to be honest with you here, -114. Because it's a final, we're talking tight margins. You know, it's not -114 was a lot more appealing to me than -121. And I wouldn't be taking that beyond probably -130. I've got I wouldn't, if it goes shorter than that, I wouldn't be taking under 2.5 goals. But I also like, and Peter Chalkins has put that up. I love the under 1 Asian goal first half as well. Close to even money. Half times have been, I mean, 5 of the last 7 Champions League finals have been 0-0 at half time. The last time that there was an over 2.5 goal first half in a Champions League final. See if you can guess when it was.
Year.
Yeah, how far?
10 years ago.
Double.
No.
And that's over 2.5 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
In the last 20 first halves, there have been 7 0-0s. 5 of those have been in the last 7 years, by the way. 10 times the team's been winning 1-0. And then 3 times it's been a 1-1 draw. So both teams score yes has only cashed in 3 of the last 20 first halves in a Champions League final. And that, I think, was 20 years ago. It was, 2005, Duncan Evans, Liverpool AC Milan. 3-0 AC Milan led at half time. And then Liverpool.
What happened in that game, member? I don't think it's ever been talked about since, is it?
No, it was just an anomaly, wasn't it? That was an incredible game. So, I mean, just in recent times, I've got to go based on these trends because I do believe finals get played differently. I've always thought that in soccer, in major events, the pressure, the tightness. You mentioned about the Inter counter attack, and it has been lethal. But I just think Luis Enrique is a really canny manager. PSG, he's not going to let them surely have that possibility. I think the first half will be pretty cagey. I think they'll feel each other out, and I think that's actually probably a better bet than the under 2.5 goals inside 90 minutes. Actually, I think the first half under 1 Asian goal. You would only have lost on that bet in 3 of the last 20 finals in the Champions League.
Mental. Who'd ever go with that? Like overs in the first half, Asian. I don't know. Mad.
Yeah, it would be a break. Well, I mean, to be fair, 10 times it's been 1-0, so you wouldn't have lost on those occasions, but you would only have cashed 3 times. And in recent years, like those 5-0 out of the last 7, I think are very, very. I think that's a crucial trend. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this on the live Betcast tomorrow as well.
Could be interesting, couldn't it? Could be very interesting.
It will be very, very interesting. Just going back to some comments here, Justin Ripley, welcome in, made a really good point about the last 4 finals here in Munich have been won by first-time winner. Forest, Marseille, Dortmund. I mean, that's just. I think PSG are the favourites, so if they win it, it would be an interesting trend. I like those sort of stats. Duncan said he thinks Inter's best chance to contain PSG is to attack. So Duncan's in the overs camp here. Blinker got both teams score. Yes, he's liking that as well. And Duncan thinks the semis are a good guide for the final. Look, if it does kick off into an incredible game of goals and wide open, then that's fair enough. I just think finals get played differently. Brian's 2-2. You're getting a lot of support in here, Jack, to be fair. Surely someone out there, apart from Guy and Peter, must like the unders in this final. Sure.
So yeah, the first comment, that's only because you typed it yourself.
Okay, yeah, Peter's in my court here.
There we go. Come on, let us know. If you're watching, let us know. Come on, put your things on the line.
Some significant bets on the game then. Here we go. I've got a lot of data here, so bear with me. Champions League winner plus 130 for Inter, nearly $6,000 on that. But someone has also had a significant bet, nearly the same amount on PSG to win the trophy. Most wagered play by percentage of game handled, PSG to win the trophy, 23.7%, and the most game tickets are PSG moneyline at nearly 20% of the tickets there. I mean, like I said, there's loads of markets in the game. We'll talk about the refereeing cards soon. What about player props here? I mean, there's so many. This Bet Rivers have really pushed the boat out here. We can even go player versus player on matches in this one, Jack. I mean, I'm gonna for the live betcast, I will have 2 or 3 really good plays, especially when I know the lineups. But is there anything we need to get on now, do you think, and highlight it now?
Yeah, I was scrolling through there. I had to reschedule my whole day today because I was going through these markets, and it was like, wow, this is longer and longer, and it's taking longer than I thought. So yeah, the player versus player tab on the Bet Rivers website certainly caught my eye. So scroll across your shots on target and your cards and your goal scorers and your assists and your specials, your fouls, and there you go. Just before player saves, you got player versus player, and I thought, wonder what's going on there. Let's have a look who they've got. So you got Dembele versus Lautaro Martinez. I can give that one a swerve. You've got Kvaratskhelia versus Thuram. I probably would lean Kvaratskhelia there, to be honest. But yeah, again, not one for me. You've also got 2 of my favourite players going head-to-head, Hakimi and Dumfries. And so that would be an interesting one to watch, but not one I'm going to bet on. But the one that really caught my eye was Desiree Doué versus Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And this is for a shot on target, or most shots on target. And Doué is plus 115 here. A tie is minus 118. And you've got Çalhanoğlu, the outsider, at plus $6. But I just feel that Doué is a brilliant price in this one. He's obviously plays in a completely different position to start with. If he does start this, he's going to be in that front 3. We know what he's about. He loves to dribble. He loves to shoot. And he scored a good few goals in this tournament as well. And he's up against Çalhanoğlu, is probably going to be playing as the deepest of all the Inter Milan midfield. You've got Mkhitaryan, who will be playing a little bit more advanced than him, Barella as well. And he kind of sits in that sort of metronome position in that pivot and looks to kind of thread play together. Yes, he does get forward. Yes, he takes shots. He might well be on penalties depending on the time, the game state. But when you look at the bare stats of it, regardless of all those positional plays now, the stats back up what kind of the eye test would suggest. You look at Doué in the Champions League this season, he's had 14 shots on target. He's only had 7 starts as well, 15 appearances, 7 starts. Most of those starts have come more recently. And he's working out as a shot on target every 48 minutes. And then you look at Çalhanoğlu, who's only had 5 shots on target across the Champions League campaign. So working out at 1 every 153 minutes, 11 appearances and 10 starts. So more starts, less appearances. But so when you break that down per minute, there's only one winner on it. And when you consider that Doué's only failed to have a shot on target in 2 of his last 11 Champions League appearances, and had multiple shots on target in 4 of those games as well. That puts him in a really strong position against Çalhanoğlu, who has only had a shot on target in 2 of his last 7 Champions League appearances. So realistically, if Douay was to have a shot on target, and he is minus 159 to do that in this game, so the traders expect him to have 1 shot on target, he's in a real prime position to beat Çalhanoğlu here. And so I just feel that is a wrong price. Simple as that. Again, in this market, probably maybe minus 120, something like that. If he has 2 shots on target, Çalhanoğlu's got to do something he's not done across the entire campaign this season, just to tie. So for me, Douay, who's had 3 shots on target once, 2 shots on target, 3 occasions. And as I said, he's had at least 1 shot on target in each of his last 4 Champions League appearances. That looks like a great prop bet for me.
I mean, if you are right about these marauding wingbacks, Jack, and I'm not convinced that necessarily it will be the case where they do bomb forward, but if they do, I think Bet Rivers are offering some interesting dangling carrots on all of them for a shot on target here.
Yeah.
DeMarco plus 133 for a shot on target. Dumfries plus 170. I mean, for me, they should be the same price for a shot on target at least. I mean, Hakimi is plus 143. He might get on a free kick, by the way, Hakimi as well. Yeah, especially a longer range one. So that's intriguing. And then Mendes is plus 410 for a shot on target. That's probably the more fair price. He's of the 4 of them, he's the less likely to get for, but he will cut inside the way that Luis Enrique often has Mendes going. This inverted fullback, I suppose, is a better way.
Is he the top scoring defender in the tournament, Mendes? I think he might be.
I don't know the answer to that, actually.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, someone can have a research of that, please. But I'm sure he is. That's
interesting. Yeah. So, but he will cut inside. He won't stress. Yeah. So plus 410 could be interesting if he does get forward there. So those.
I was like looking at. I ain't going to give everything away ahead of the betcast, so I'll obviously keep some powder dry there. But Denzel Dumfries to score or assist in this is at plus 335, which I really, really liked, considering his involvement in the semi-final against Barcelona across both legs was quite incredible, really, to be fair. So he had five direct goal involvements across that semi-final. He scored twice and had 3 assists, didn't he? He was really involved in that. So I love watching all those playing. But Dumfries and Hakimi, for me, particularly, are defenders, wing-backs. Way back in the day, at a very, very, very low level, I used to play as a right back. So I had a nosebleed if I crossed the halfway line, seeing these guys, how advanced they are, and get up and down, up and down, up and down. Wouldn't have a chance in this day and age. But seeing that is like so impressive, and what they do. And I think Hakimi, 14 assists for PSG across all competitions this season. Like stunning stuff from them. And as you say, he loves a poke from distance as well. Another player that we like to get on board for the shots on target. So yeah, you're right. Carrots dangling all over the place.
Do you know, it's quite interesting. Both teams probably have the best fullback / wingback duo in the world, in world soccer. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, Inter's two do play very unique positions. But for me, Mendes and Hakimi, just for out and out fullbacks, they're absolutely elite. I mean, we've seen Mendes shut down Mo Salah. He shut down so many players in his time. Hakimi's that brilliant dual dynamic performer, and then Dumfries, what an engine he's got. I mean, this is incredible. 2 incredible teams for those positions. Douay agrees with Ming Chung, agrees with Jack. Douay surely in that market. Brian says both teams. Inter to score both halves. He's really liking goals in this game. It's Brian at 7-2. Steve from Lynn likes the under 2.5. Danny, can we have a James prediction for the final? If you're a subscriber to the Insider, you will get a James Easton pick. I don't know what it is actually. I can't remember. Did he put it in? He must have put it in.
He did.
I'm not. I certainly won't reveal it. You've got to subscribe to the Insider, but he does have a pick for the final. Brian's all about cards as well. Çalhanoğlu, I'm terrible with that one. I really am. UEFA have actually they issued a tweet, I think, didn't they, about how to pronounce the names of these players. And I obviously haven't been listening properly, have I, for that one? Fred Springer, good to see you. He's on Marcus Thuram to be fouled on a fouls ladder. That
Yes.
sounds good, doesn't it? That sounds really good. I like any sort of ladder. SW, like I said, he will have a bet on that insider newsletter. And ZT, good to see you as well. So, right, we've got the betcast tomorrow, but I mean, you're on over 2.5 goals, right, Jack? The
Yes.
delay shots on target battle against I've forgotten.
Your man. Come on. Hakan.
Yeah. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, right? That's not bad, is it?
Say it wrong like me. It's easier.
Is there anything else you're locking in now, or are you going to keep people waiting for that betcast tomorrow?
No, I too have a ladder for the betcast, which I'm looking forward to revealing, and I have 2 or 3 others that I've already got locked in for the betcast. But for now, that's all you're getting.
Yeah, for me, under 2.5 goals for me. So me and Jack are head to head, and then under 1 Asian goals in the first half at nearly evens. I actually think that's probably the better bet than even under 2.5 in 90 minutes.
That's your best bet.
I'm head to head with Jack. I might be head to head with someone else as well tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see about that. It's going to be interesting for you in the betcast. Do join us 2:30 Eastern. That is 7:30 in the UK.
There's only one certainty for that betcast, Stephen, is that you will be the best dressed man on the show.
I don't know about that. You've got a wardrobe that's bottomless, really, isn't it? I mean, it expands, and then you never know what Mr. Roebuck's going to turn out.
This is true.
So,
we'll have to wait.
I mean, we know what the betting is. All right, maybe I might be minus money, but anyway, okay. We got French Open tennis going on. We've had some great content, game bet match, the live tennis shows as well this week. And Nigel has been in touch with me about some matches in the women's tomorrow. And we've got 4 games that we're going to discuss here. And this is Kasatkina against Badosa. Just wanted to make a point about this game to Nigel, about the 3-3 head-to-head, 1-1 on clay. But Badosa is in much better form in 2025. And like I said, there was a big significant winner on Badosa live yesterday at evens, 15,000. So she might well be the form horse here, just looking better. And I've got a split for this game as well in terms of the breakdown. No, I haven't got a split for this game, actually. Sorry. I've got one for the other 3. But so Nigel wanted to make a good point about that. The Baptiste game here against Bouzas Maneiro. Bouzas Maneiro leads the head-to-head 1-0. And that was on a quick court, which doesn't actually suit the Spanish girl. Now on clay, Nigel thinks she's got a great chance. But the market really does like Baptiste at the minute, who is American. So Bouzas Maneiro here at minus 104 may well be a good bet based on the surface. That previous head-to-head where she beat Baptiste on a surface which actually shouldn't have suited her. So that looks like it could be maybe slight. I mean, it's nearly a pick-em anyway, isn't it, Jack, actually? But it could well be a case of that Bouzas Maneiro maybe should be more minus money than she actually is. But as Nigel, did make a very good point there, that the money's on Baptiste. 92% of the money is on Baptiste for this game, with 95% of the tickets. But this could be one of those where you fade the actual market, you fade the reputation, you go with the more unfancied girl in terms of reputation here. We've got 2 other games here. I swear down, Nigel always sends up girls with names that I struggle with to pronounce. Marketa, Vondrousova. I think that sounds quite good, doesn't it?
Absolutely perfect.
Jessica Pegula, I'm good with that one. Now, in terms of this game here, we've got a former Wimbledon champion against Pegula. Just 1-0 in the head-to-head. They've not met many times. But Vondrousova, better player on clay. She's had some huge injury worries, but looks a good price against Pegula here, who isn't playing well and doesn't like clay. So a plus money here on Vondrousova may well need to be snapped up, according to Nigel. So I've got a betting breakdown for this game as well. And again, Pegula's been back, 91% of the money, 89% of the tickets. But Vondrousova may well be severely underrated in this matchup. So at plus money, significant plus money, she's worth a bet. And the bottom game there, Veronika Kudermetova, against Ekaterina Alexandrova. Jack's laughing in the background here. You can't see.
Where's Sue Barker?
Shush. This is a tight head-to-head battle before 3-3 on the head-to-head. 2 matches have been due to a retirement. Nigel likes the over total here on the games, 21.5. They played in Dubai this year, and there was 28 games between them. It looks like when they play each other, it's normally a really close battle. This could be going 3 sets, Jack. And the game's total here at 21.5. You could actually cash if you have 2 sets, in theory. So, that is 4 suggestions from Nigel on the Women's Open, French Women's Open tomorrow. The content has been, I have to say, magnificent from the whole team. And thanks so much for everyone who's been watching the Game Bet match, the women's show with Rory and Nigel, and tennis, Betting Weekly Tennis Live is Monday through to Wednesday, of course, and that will continue next week as the French Open really does hot up, not just in terms of the temperature, but the action on the court. Clay tennis is so unique. I always find, Jack, not for everyone, but some plays there from Nigel, and Nigel was actually in chat earlier saying that he is on Inter at 28-1. 28
is huge. What a head-to-head that is. We've got him on Inter at 28-1 and Lewis at 16-1. It's all going off. What I was going to say is in B. Danny, who asked for James's prediction, and SW, his prediction is locked and loaded, ready for that newsletter. So make sure you're subscribing, and it's a plus 430 play. So you need to get on it.
Do you know what? I can't remember what that is. I'm going to look back when the show's finished. But plus 430, he's going to finish the season with a bang. You wouldn't bet against James Easton, would you? On the season,
swinging for the fences. You know what I mean? He's like I say, he's been on fire all season. So absolutely get on that straight away. Once you're done with that, it'll be about plus 230. So plus 430 from him. And I did quickly double check on Nuno Mendes as well. He is the top scorer of 4 goals in the Champions League this season. Hakimi's got 3 as well. He's next best, alongside Ryan Flamingo. I love that name, from PSV, also with 3 goals.
There's got to be so many puns you can have with Ryan Flamingo.
Don't go there, mate. You will not have a leg to stand on.
But I'm just looking to see. Yeah, the inside, it still hasn't been.
No.
Released.
SW is asking, have you got that link? Push the link. SW wants James.
Hold on, SW. We need this. This honestly, I'm not being funny. This could get released at any moment soon.
Yeah,
I'm amazed it hasn't already, actually.
No.
But if you have not subscribed to the Betting Weekly newsletters, we've got one newsletter that comes out on Monday each week normally, and then the Insider focuses on weekend events, and every single handicapper's got a pick on this team for that Champions League final. Now, in terms of today's action, Jack, slim pickings. I know I mentioned earlier about the League of Ireland. You can watch the 5 Premier League games there. We've not got a pick on that. You can watch the Grasshoppers in Switzerland if you want. We've kind of been focusing a bit on the Norwegian and Swedish leagues recently. You had your best bet of the day earlier this week, won in the Superettan.
Yes.
We've got 2 games here. We've got a game in the OBOS, which I'll talk on in a minute. But in the Superettan again, we've got Orebro against Brage. Orebro plus 130 favourites. They haven't won a game yet this season, but they're plus 130 favourites in 10 games. They haven't won. So I don't think you'd be rushing to back the plus 130 here, Jack. You're going the other way.
I am, yeah. They were Brage were plus 210 this morning, which I thought was a huge price. And I said that's where I went with it, regardless of anything, just the value side of it. So I haven't got my fingers on the pulse of team news and so on and so forth, unlike yourself in the Superettan. But that just looked a big price. And I checked just now, they're now plus 170. I had a feeling it was going to come in, and I had a number in my head that I wouldn't back lower than, and it was plus 150. So I know it's quite a drop, but yeah, still some juice in it, in my opinion, as you say, against a side that are yet to win. They've picked up 2 points from their opening 10 games, still searching for their first home win of the campaign, lost 3 of their opening 4, and the only point they picked up came in a home draw against Trelleborg. And that's a side that sit 1 place above them in the table. So they really are struggling. You look at Brage, they're up in 10th, but they've actually been stronger on the road than they have been on home soil. And in fact, have got the third best away record in Superettan so far this season. So they've been really strong there. The other key element I quite like about this is that they've played the other two sides in the bottom three, the two sides either side of Orebro in Superettan, and beat them both 1-0. They then did lose to Helsingborg, their next road game, but have bounced back from that only last week when they beat Sundsvall 2-0. And I think the fact that their 3 victories on the road have come with a clean sheet is a real benefit or a real boost for me. It just shows that they have kept it tight. They can keep sides out. And they're up against a side here that are clearly struggling anyway. As I say, 2 points in 10 games is terrifically bad. And they've only scored 1 goal at home this season from 4 league fixtures. So, yeah, it just seems to me that the price is too big, and I'd have them certainly switched around the other way. And so the money's coming, but at the moment at plus 170, I still think there's a little bit of juice in that.
Yeah, I did a bit of research into Orebro today for our Svensken team for several years, actually. They changed their manager 3 games ago. It's not made a difference yet, apart from a 4-4 draw. Really struggling. I don't really see how you could warrant backing Orebro at these odds. 1 plus 138 now. They shouldn't be the favourite, should they? Based on look, any team can have a bad 5 to 6 game stretch. They've not won any of the first 10. Yeah. You know, until we get into the stage now with any league, until a team actually shows us that they can win a game, I think they're a fade in like draw no bet markets, money line, whatever. Yeah. You know, maybe at some point they will win, but until they actually show that, then I think I would agree with you. I mean, the draw no bet on Brage. This is not the Portuguese Brage, by the way. This is E-Core Brage from Sweden, and they do look overpriced in this instance for sure.
I do think with how I tend to work on things in all the leagues and all the betting that I do is have those kind of checkpoints. 5 games in gives you a initial sample size. What's that form started like at the start of the campaign? Other than obviously when I'm doing the Premier League show, which is like a little bit different because of the data that we've got to hand. But generally speaking, I wouldn't touch a league that hasn't at least had 10% of the games played. So we're now in that point, obviously way past that in Sweden here. And so my second checkpoint really is 10 games. So how have they done over the first 10 games and what are the last 5 like? And it's not changed, has it? It's been a very, very similar pattern. So I'm happy to get on a side who have shown that they've been capable away from home. They lost and then they won. So they've shown that they can bounce back from that. And the general trend is a positive one on the road. And say what was plus 210 was a ridiculously big price. And I still think, as I said, there's juice in it all the way down to plus 150.
The OBOS Ligaen match, I like the away team as well here. Now, I've got to be very, very careful. I pronounce this team, the top team. It's I do believe, I've been told this many times, but I think it is shite, basically. Shite against Hedd is the actual name. Now, the home team are kind of living up to their pronunciation here this season. They're winless as well. 6 defeats out of 8. I remember the last time they were in OBOS, they were really struggled mightily. They seem to yo-yo between the second tier of Norwegian football and the third. When they come up to this level, they're not normally good enough. They did draw 1-1 at home to Lillestrøm a few weeks ago. Now, that's a good result for them. Lillestrøm are definitely by far the best team in this league. They'll win the OBOS at a country mile canter. They'll probably win it by 10 points or more. So that's a good draw for them, but maybe almost like a cup final for shite here. This is not such a high profile game. Hedd, genuine sort of mid-table outfit. That's where they should finish. And you can actually get Hedd here on a minus 0.25 Asian handicap at evens, which I think that's a really good price against a team that's not won a game yet. So the only way you're going to lose the bet is if Scheid somehow get their first win of the season. So, draws can happen. But I just think the percentage play here would be on Hedd, minus a quarter of a ball. We like the both away teams here in these games today in OBOS and Superettan. But really, Jack, it's all about tomorrow's Champions League final.
Yeah.
Betcast, again, reminder for those who joining in late or whatever who don't know it, it's on at 2:30 Eastern time tomorrow. That is 7:30 in the UK. Me, you, and Dan are going to be together for what I think could be an absolute blast. I mean, goodness knows what Dan's got prepared. I bet he's got a few surprises up his sleeve.
Can't wait.
To throw at us.
I think it's the first time we've worked together as a triumvirate, isn't it? I don't think we've done that officially before. So I'm looking forward to that in itself. So yeah, absolutely pumped for it. It's going to be so exciting. I think the games will be good. There's obviously a great build-up we normally get from these games. The Premier League we have done, obviously did the Europa League as well, but the Premier League is keeping your eyes across kind of 10 games. Here we've got sole focus on that. And what makes it is the people coming in. So come and join us, bring your best bets in, bring your comments, your questions, all that. And so it will be an absolutely banging night.
Yeah, and there will be giveaways again in chat, as we did in the last 2 betcasts. So more chances if you win some Bet Rivers merchandise, stuff like that. Producer Troy will be asking a few questions in there. And we really look forward to it, everyone coming in. But yeah, I mean, we had a great preview today on the Champions League final. As a reminder, we've had the, do check out those tennis matches for the women's tomorrow, which I went through Nigel's picks earlier as well. ZT says he's unfortunately not going to be in because he's got his daughter's 5th birthday party. Hope she has a great party, ZT.
She won't mind. She'll understand you missing her 5th. She'll have a 6th and a 7th and an 8th. Come on.
I mean, yeah. What
says the true man with no children to his name.
But yeah, we appreciate that, ZT. And yeah, I say really looking forward to that one, Jack. Remember, the action does not finish here on at Because We Win. We've still got Betting Weekly Hardball, Betting Weekly Fast Break, and a big shout out to Wes again. A clean sweep on the fast break yesterday. That is a man. I think last Friday they went 8-3 together. The fast break show has been absolutely red hot. So do check those out coming up later today on this channel. But until next week, until tomorrow. It's by default. Yeah, Monday we'll be back on Betting Weekly Live. Don't worry about that. But until tomorrow on the live betcast from with me, Jack, and Dan. Take care, everyone. Remember to gamble responsibly. That's it. Hit some winners today on those lower league Scandinavian games, and bring it on for the betcast tomorrow, Jack.
Come on.
Yes. Thanks again for your great thoughts on Betting Weekly Live. We'll catch you tomorrow, everyone. Take care.